Hello everyone, this is Dr.P.Syamala Devi from the Department of MBA International Business Studies, Acharya Nagarjuna University. Coming to our today's topic, it is regarding organizational change uh, in organizational behavior subject. Okay, so what does organizational change means and how it is related to the organizational behavior? What is the impact of organizational change in organizational behavior? Okay, likewise, what are the types of organizational change, what is the nature of organizational change, what is the process of organizational change, and what are the forces of organizational change. All these can be studied under this topic. Okay, then before going to this meaning or definition, what actually this organizational change means? See, change means, we all know that it is alteration of the state of affairs of an organization. Okay, in general, if we talk about change, means change is inevitable in the life of an organization. Okay, likewise in our lives also, depending upon the changing circumstances. Okay, the behavior of the person or else the behavior of the organization will be there. So change is inevitable. We cannot escape from it. Okay, so change is inevitable in the life of an organization, because we are talking about organizational behavior. We'll talk about this change relating to the organization. And if we see today's business world, most of the organizations are facing a dynamic and changing business environment, and they should either change or die. There is no third alternative for the organizations. Okay, and organizations that learn and cope with change will thrive and flourish, and others who fail to do so will be wiped off from the market. Okay, means the organizations which cope up along with the changes in the environment, those organizations will sustain in the market. Otherwise, other organizations which are not according to the changes of the environment, means they will definitely fail. So the major forces which make the changes not only desirable but inevitable are technological changes, economic changes, political, social, legal, international, and labor market environments. Okay, and if we see recent surveys of some major organizations around the world have shown that all successful organizations are continuously interacting with the environment. Okay, and making changes in their structural design or philosophy or policies or strategies as the need may be. Okay, so in any aspect, it may be in any aspect. Okay, the change may occur. So if we see, that's why according to Barney and Griffin, he told that the primary reason cited for organizational problem is the failure by managers. Okay, the failure by managers to properly anticipate or respond to forces for change. Okay, so if the managers are properly anticipating the future, means, okay, or else anticipating and responding to the forces of change, means definitely those organizations will sustain. Otherwise, the organization's main reason is whenever the manager fails to respond, anticipate, okay, for the change, then there itself will see organization problems. So thus we can say that in a dynamic society surrounding today's organizations, the question whether change will occur is no longer relevant. Okay, instead we have to, the issue is how to manage a cope with the inevitable barrage of changes that confront them daily in attempting to keep their organizations viable and current. Okay, so otherwise the organizations will find it difficult or impossible to survive. So uh, this is the intro of organization change. Okay, so if we see organizational change means the alteration of what? The status quo is nothing but the existing or else the current state of things. Okay, existing state of affairs. Okay, the change is nothing but the modification, the replacement, etc. Okay, so the organizational change is an essential process. We can understand by this introduction that organizational change is an essential process that drives meaningful transformation within a company or institution. So it involves making significant modifications to various aspects of the organization, as I said before, like philosophies, policies, ideologies, design, strategies, whatever may be. Okay, according to that, the process, the system, the strategies, the culture, the structure, anything may be. Okay, so it depends upon the requirement of the organization or the institution. And the goal, if we see the goal, means the goal is to enhance performance, effectiveness, and adaptability, ensuring the organization remains competitive in a dynamic business environment. The final goal is the organization should sustain in the market. It should remain in this highly competitive dynamic business market. Okay, so for that we have to enhance the performance of the organization, we have to enhance the effectiveness of the organization, and we have to adapt the changes which are going in the environment. Okay, and finally we have to ensure that the organization remains competitive in a business environment. Okay, so organizational change can be triggered by internal or external factors, which later we will study. Okay, so it encompasses diverse areas. Okay, so finally, if we want to organizational change, what does this means it encompasses diverse areas such as restructuring, cultural evolution, process optimization, technological advancement, strategic realignment, and people-centric initiatives likewise. Okay, and if we see the nature of organizational change. Okay, so the nature here, if you see the definition, also see the term change refers to any alteration which occurs in the overall work environment. Okay, overall work environment means, you can see, as I said before. Okay, overall environment means full, the structures, the policies, everything comes under it. Okay, so that is why the overall work environment of an organization. And if you see the nature, so what does this nature means? Okay, the characteristics, the features of organizational change. So the nature of organizational change is inherently dynamic and multifaceted. Okay, so dynamic in the sense it is a changing, very rapid change, and multifaceted. So it encompasses several key characteristics as we study here. See, first one is continuous. Okay, so continuous means organizational change is an ongoing process rather than a one-time event. Okay, means, see, till the organization is there, the change has to be adopted by that particular organization. So therefore, continuous organizational change is an ongoing process. So it recognizes that organizations must continually adopt, evolve, and improve to remain relevant and competitive in a rapidly changing business environment. Okay, then if you see the second nature, so what does this means? Complexity. So organizational is complex. Why it is complex means due to the interplay of various factors. As I said in introduction part, so many factors affect, like the structure of the organization, culture of the organization, process, technology, political aspects, legal aspects, human dynamics. So all these affect. So all these are a complexity. All these have a complexity in their nature. So it involves multiple stakeholders also. Okay, whenever we are having multiple stakeholders, we have intricate relationships and interconnected elements. So this require careful consideration and management should be made in these all those components or else all these elements. Okay, so definitely it is a complex nature. Then if you see multi-dimensional, okay, so multidimensional means organizational change affects various dimensions of an organization simultaneously. So it can impact organizational structure or else culture, strategy, process, systems, technology, even individual roles and responsibilities. Okay, so what is organizational structure means? So all these affected. Okay, so multidimensional means the structure, culture, strategy, process, systems, technology, each and everything will be affected. So that is why it is organizational change is a multidimensional. If, for example, if we see organizational structure, so what does organizational structure means? So the arrangement of roles and responsibilities, resource allocations, utilization of the resources, okay, decision making, hierarchy, tasks, reporting, relationships, communications, everything comes under the organizational structure. Therefore, each and everything is involved is affected by the organizational change. All these will be affected. So likewise culture, likewise strategy, likewise processes, we have to change depending upon the, for example, if we have a certain policies and procedures for our organization. If at all there is any change regarding the government policies, okay, definitely we have to change depending upon the government policies. We have to act according to the government policies. Okay, likewise, these change initiatives often require a holistic approach that considers the interdependencies among these dimensions. Okay, each and everything will be interlinked, interdependent. Okay, so another one is disruptive. Okay, so what does disruptive means? Disruptive means change disrupts the status quo within an organization. So disturbing part, disrupting means interruption. Okay, so the status quo is nothing but the existing state of affairs, which is nothing but, for example, if we see the internal state of affairs of an organization, the policies, the procedures, the rules, the regulations. Okay, so those may be interrupted. Okay, why? Because if there is any change in the external environment, okay, or else in internal environment of the organization, so definitely it will affect the status quo of the organization, state of affairs of the organization. Okay, so it challenges existing routines, practices and mindsets. It can create uncertainty, resistance, discomfort among employees. Okay, so requiring effective change management strategies to minimize negative impact and facilitate a smooth transition should be there. Okay, so disruptive means it creates uncertainty. Okay, resistance, definitely employees will resist for the change. It creates discomfort for the employees. Okay, so therefore proper strategies should be taken in order to minimize the negative impacts. Okay, then after that, contextual. Okay, so contextual means the nature of organizational change is shaped by the unique context of each organization. Okay, so factors such as industry dynamics, market conditions, regulatory requirements, internal capabilities, all these influence the nature and scope of change initiatives. Okay, so what works for one organization may not necessarily work for another organization. Means organizations differ. It depends upon the size of the organization, it depends upon the nature of the organization, it depends upon the style that it is following by the organization. Okay, so therefore contextual means the change may not be applied or else the strategies they followed, the organizations will follow depending upon the changes in the environment. Each organization have their own change, they will apply it for according to their organization's structure and policies and procedures. Okay, so we can say that this organizational change, it is a contextual. Okay, it depends upon the internal capabilities of the organization, it depends upon the regularity requirements, it depends upon the market conditions, it depends upon the industry dynamics. Okay, so we can say that if a change works for one organization, it may not necessarily work for another organization. So it depends upon the context of the change. Okay. And if you see the last one, strategic. Okay, so what does the strategic means? Organizational change is often driven by strategic considerations. It aligns with organization's vision, goals, and long-term objectives. Okay, so change initiatives are typically designed to improve performance, enhance competitiveness, foster innovation, capitalize on opportunities, or address challenges that impact the organization's strategic positions. See, for example, organization change. We are there is no any external environment forcing us to change, but it is the internal environment. We see the internal state of affairs of the organization. So depending upon the internal organization's performance or else the competitiveness nature, okay, we are trying to increase the performance of the employees. Okay, so this is a strategic decision taken by the organization. So we can say this is a organizational change internally, which is driven by strategic considerations. Okay, in order to improve the performance in the employees, giving training and development facilities. Okay, likewise, in order to foster innovations also. Okay, we are increasing, enhancing, motivating the employees for foster innovations. Okay, likewise, strategic decisions may be taken which enhances the effectiveness, productivity of the organization along with the performance of the organization. Okay, so if we see what are the types of change. So what does, see, finally, if what we can say this organizational change means, see, finally we can say that change results from the pressure of both internal and external forces in the organization. Okay, it is, change is inevitable, but in that also, why the change results means by the pressure of both internal and external forces. Okay, due to that we are going for change, so it disturbs existing equilibrium. Okay, then we can say that change is any part of the organization affects the whole part of the organization. Okay, we all know that organization consists of subsystems. So if at all one subsystem is affected, the total whole of the organization is also affected. Likewise, it affects various parts of the organizations, like rate of speed, degree of significance, likewise. And also change may affect people, structure, technology. We all know all these are the elements of the organizational behavior: people, structure, technology. Okay, so all these also affected by the organization. Likewise, change, finally we can say that it is a reactive or proactive. Now we are going to study about those two types of changes. Okay, now, so what is a proactive change and what is a reactive change? Okay, so if we see, proactive change means the term proactive simply means anticipation, we can say that. Okay, so if change in an organization is when the organization takes action to improve current conditions, okay, or create new ones rather than passively adapting to the present. Okay, proactive change refers, we can say that the change undertaken in anticipation of likely changes in the forces affecting the organization. So we are anticipating that in future this change may happen. So for that, now we are preparing for that change. Okay, so for example, recalling faulty products. A company that recalls a faulty line of products before customers complain, it taking a proactive change. Okay, so we can say it as an example for proactive change. Okay, recalling faulty products means we are proactively, even before complaining by the customers, okay, the company itself proactively recalls a faulty line of products, okay. So whenever the company recalls the faulty products, okay, then uh, there is no issue of customers complaining to us, right? So this is proactive change, okay. So we can say that these organizations introduce change uh, much before it becomes a firefighting situation, before only they are proactively implementing it, okay. So they incorporate change much before they are forced to do so. So in fact they undertake change programs on a regular basis in order to avoid inflexibility. And if you see, okay, reactive change. So what does reactive change refers to? Reactive means after the thing happened, we are reacting for that change, okay. So reactive change is when an organization responds to an unexpected event or external pressure by making changes to adopt. For example, demand shifts, okay. A business may need to react to a decrease in demand for its product or service, okay. So when the organization is going to change, okay, so after seeing the demand shift for its product, okay, decrease of demand, okay, so decrease of demand for the product. Now, after the decrease of the demand for the product, now the organization is taking the change. Okay. So, a business may need to react to a decrease in demand for its product or change. Okay. Or else, for example, crisis is there, pandemic crisis. Okay. We all faced COVID-19. So, an organization may need to react to a crisis like a pandemic, okay. Means a situation occurs, after occurring that situation, after occurring that crisis, organization is now responding, reacting to that crisis, okay. So this is about the reactive change. So changes has been broadly categorized into two types. One is proactive change and reactive change, okay. Now if you see about the forces of organizational change, okay. So what are the forces of organizational change? There are a number of factors, both internal and external, which affect organizational functioning, okay. Any change in these factors necessitates change in an organization. Even any change in one of the factors, okay, we have different factors here, okay. See, both external factors and internal factors. Any factors all over here may have a change, effect of change in an organization. So organizations cannot change the external environment, but must change themselves to align with the environment, okay. So that is the external forces, okay. So external environment, if there is we all know that external environment means all the pestle analysis, like political, economical, social, cultural, technical, legal, every aspect will comes under the external environment. If any change of those external environment, it cannot be handled by the organization, because it is not in the hands of the organization, it is out of the hands of the organization. So therefore the organization has to change, organization has to align according to the changes, okay. So the organizations cannot change the external environment, but what they can change, they change themselves to align with the environment, okay. So we can say that this external environment affects organizations both directly and indirectly, okay. The organizations do not have any control over the variables in such an environment, okay. So finally what we can say, that the organizations cannot change the environment, but must change themselves to align with the environment. So in this we external environment or external forces, we are going to study about technology, market conditions, social changes, and political forces. So what does technology means? So if at all there is any change in the technology, okay, definitely it affects the organizations. Okay, so technology is the major external force which calls for the change. The adoption of new technology such as computers, telecommunication systems, flexible manufacturing operations all have profound impact on the organizations that adopt them. Okay, definitely which organizations are adopting technologies, they are following computers, they are following telecommunication systems. Okay, if at all there is any minor change in those segments, okay, definitely it affects the organizations. So the substitution of computer control for example direct supervision is resulting in wider span of control for managers and flatter organizations. Okay, so we can say that on in the place of wide span of control, we can substitute it by the computers. Okay, so sophisticated information technology is also making organizations more responsive. So both organizations and employees will have to become more adaptable. Many jobs will be reshaped. Individuals who do routine, specialized, and narrow jobs will be replaced by workers who can perform multiple tasks and actively participate in decision making. Okay, so management will have to increase their investment in training and education of the employees because employees skills are becoming obsolete more quickly. Okay, so we can say that for this example, Japanese firms have progressed rapidly because they are very fast in adopting new technological innovations. Okay, whenever there is any technological change, technological advancement, okay, in the environment, definitely immediately those Japanese firms will immediately, okay, they will very fastly adopt those new type of technological innovations. So as I said before, any organization is now going on depending upon all these computers or else uh, telecommunication systems, flexible manufacturing operations, etc. So definitely in technological aspects, if we see means definitely if there is any change in the external environment regarding the technology, definitely the organizations also should adopt. If they have not been adopting the changes means they will be back in the market. Okay, they cannot sustain in the market. And if you see the second thing, market conditions. Okay, so market conditions means um, we can say that those are more static ones. Okay, they are in process of rapid change as the needs, desires, and expectations of customers change rapidly and frequently. So there is tough competition in the market as the market is flooded with new products and innovations every day. So new methods of advertising are used to influence the customers. So today the concept of consumerism has gained considerable importance and thus the consumers are treated as the kings. Okay, so marketing conditions means the backbone for that is the customer. Okay, the consumer. So as the consumer taste and preferences are changing day by day. Okay, why? Because many more new products, many innovations are seen, are available in the market. Therefore the consumer's taste and preferences are rapidly changing. So therefore organizations has to act, has to produce the products according to the consumers. Okay, and the competition today has very more significant new twist. Okay, most market will soon be international because of decreasing transportation and communication cost and increasing export orientation to business. Many of the international firms we are seeing, many international products now we are using also. Okay, why? Because through globalization. Okay, so all these are happening. This means that we are increasing the marketing conditions. Okay, the competition is increased. The global economy makes sure that competitors are likely to come across the ocean as well as from across the town. So successful organizations will be those organizations who can change in response to the competition. Okay, so And we can say that organizations that are not ready for the new sources of competition, they may not exist for longer time. Okay, then if you see the third aspect, social change. Okay, so what does social change means? Social and cultural environment suggest some changes to the organizations. Okay, they have to adjust according to those social and cultural aspects. So there are a lot of social changes due to spread of education, knowledge, lot of government efforts. Okay, so social equality, equal opportunities to women, equal pay for equal work, or else anything, all these post new challenges for the management. Okay, so if we see compared to before 10 20 years and now, women working women are increased, so they are also getting equal opportunities, they are also getting equal pay. So this is a cultural change, social change in the market. Okay, so therefore, the management has to follow certain social norms in shaping its employment, marketing, and other policies. And coming to last aspect, political forces. So, how does these political forces impact the organization? Means political environment within and outside the country have an important impact on businesses. Okay, especially if we talk the transnational corporations. So the interference of the government in business has increased tremendously in most of the countries. We all know, without political interference, okay, export and import of goods also cannot be taken. Therefore, the corporate sector is regulated by a lot of laws and regulations. The organizations do not have any control over the political and legal forces. Why? Because they are not internal affairs of the organization, they are out of the hands of the organization. So they have to adopt to meet the pressures of the forces, but they cannot change the political and legal system. Okay, and uh, all these are the external forces that affect the change in the organizations. And if you see the internal forces, so what does the internal forces means? So internal forces are uh, too many, and it is also difficult to list them comprehensively. Why? Because so internal forces are more there, those are within the state of affairs of the organization, internal management of the organization. So if we see some of those aspects, means first one is nature of the workforce. Okay, nature of the, this is the internal aspect of the organization. So nature of workforce has changed over a passage of time. So different work values have been expressed by different generations. Workers who are in the age group of 50 plus, okay, value loyalty to their employers. Okay, and workers in their mid 30s to mid 40s are loyal to themselves. And youngest, if you take youngest generations, means workers loyal to their careers. So there is a difference between the age group depending upon the nature of the workforce. Workforce is nothing but the man who are workers working in the organization. So different section of people, different age group of people think differently, and this affects the change in the organization. The profile of the workforce is also changing fast. New generation of workers have better educational qualifications if we compare to previous years. Okay, and they place greater emphasis on human values and question authority of managers. This is a major change now we are seeing in the present generation also. Okay, so previously the employees, they will not question the managers, but now the people, the generation, the new generation, they are emphasizing more human values. Okay, and also they are more concentrated on their careers, and they are also questioning the authority of managers. Okay, so their behavior has also become very complex, and leading them towards organizational goals is a challenging part for the managers. So the employee turnover is also very high, which again puts strain on the management. See, employee turnover is nothing but the leaving employees from the organization is more than hiring the employees. So it is also one of the pressure on the management. So the workforce is changing with rapid increase in the percentage of women employees also, which in turn means that more dual career couples. So organizations have to modify transfer and promotion policies as well as make child care and elder care available in order to respond to the needs of two career couples also now working in the same office. So all these are the needs regarding to their couples. So the organizations now has to modify regarding these transfers, regarding these promotion policies, taking the child care, elder care availability. Okay, so these are the new changes which are related to internal forces, which are related to internal management, which are in the hands, which are in the control of organization. Okay, then if you see the second aspect, change in managerial personnel. Change in managerial personnel is another force which brings about change in organization. Old managers are replaced by new managers, which is necessitated because of promotion, because of retirement, because of transfers, because of dismissal. Anything may be lead to new managers, replacement of new managers. Therefore, each manager brings his own ideas and way of working in the organization. The formal relationships change because of changes in managerial personnel. Okay, we all know informal relationships are nothing but the depending upon their taste, preferences, beliefs, values, there will be informal relationship, which is not formal, which is not relationship created by the management. Okay, it depends upon the beliefs and values, and two people will be in relation. Okay, sometimes even though there is no change in personal, but their attitudes will change. So as a result, the organization has to change accordingly. Okay, and also, changes in organizations are more fast when top executive change. Change in top executives will lead to important change in organizations in terms of organization design also. Okay, allocation of work, delegation of authority, installation of control, etc. Why? Because if there is change in top level management means the organization structure, the organizational design, all will be changed. Okay, so change in managerial personnel can be seen if there is a change in the top level executives. So all these changes will be necessary because every top executive will have his own style, and he will take or he will like to use his own ideas and philosophies. Okay, and if you see the third aspect, deficiencies in existing organizational structure. So deficiencies in existing management structure means sometimes changes are necessary because of some deficiencies in the existing organizational structure, arrangement and processes. So organizational structure, which is nothing but the arrangement of roles and responsibilities, as I said before, or else decision making part, or else relationship means the reporting relationships, communications, resource allocations, utilization of resources, tasks, everything comes under this. Okay, so if at all there are any deficiencies in all these aspects, okay, then uh, see, not only the organizational structure, all these the deficiencies, how the form of deficiencies may be uh, unmanageable span of management, or else large number of managerial levels. Okay, lack of coordination, all these are deficiencies only. Okay, likewise if there are obstacles in communications, all this comes under all organizational structure only, or else multiplicity of committees, more number of committees means it creates some confusion, or else lack of uniformity in policy decision making, lack of cooperation between line and staff people. Okay, so all these are deficiencies in existing management structure. So we have to change all these aspects. Organization has to change in order to sustain. So deficiencies in existing management structure affects the organizational change. Okay, so there is a need for change in such cases. So we have to change. If at all we unrecognize those changes means, okay, we have to face the major crisis. Then to avoid develop uh, to avoid developing inertia, okay, if we see in many cases organizational changes takes place just to avoid developing inertia or inflexibility. Inertia is nothing but the inflexibility, okay. Conscious managers take into account this view that organizations should be dynamic, because any single method is not the best tool of management every time. For example, if there is a problem, okay, so for that problem we cannot use the same method, okay. For different problems different methods will be used, but single method cannot be used for different problems, okay. So changes are incorporated so that personnel develop liking for change, and there is no unnecessary resistance when major changes in the organizations are brought about. So inflexibility is regarding the resistance from the employees, maybe, okay, employers. So here the conscious managers, they have to view organization as a dynamic thing, and he has to incorporate the persons, okay, uh, in such a way that he has to motivate the employees in such a way that they are in a they have to develop a liking behavior for change, okay. If at all there are any major changes also, they should be in such a situation that they accept the major changes in the organizations. So to avoid developing inertia, in order to avoid this also, organizational change is needed, okay. And now if you see levels of change, okay, so what are the levels of change? We all know there are three levels in the organizational behavior. One is individual level change, group level change, organizational level change, okay. So the same aspects can be studied here also, okay. So the various levels of changes are individual level change, group level change, organizational level change. So individual level change means the manager should never treat the employees in isolations, okay. Here individual change may take place due to changes in job assignment, transfer of employee to a different location, or change in maturity level of a person, which occurs over a passage of time. So the general opinion is that change at individual level will not have significant implication for the organization. But this is not correct, because individual level changes will have impact on the group, which in turn will influence the whole organization. Single individuals change may not have a significant impact, but the same person may show his impact in group, okay. So that group in turn will influence the whole organization, okay. So what are those changes means? For example, a manager may place change in job assignment for that individual, or else he may transfer the employee, means definitely change of a job position, or else the location is changed, okay. So therefore definitely this may affect individuals satisfaction. Therefore a manager should never treat the employees in isolation, okay. He must understand that individual level change will have repercussions beyond the individual, okay. And if you see next thing, group level, okay. So group level means management must consider group factors while implementing any change, because most of the organizational changes have their major effects at the group level, okay. So the group in the organization can be a formal group or informal group. We all know that formal groups are the groups which are formed by the management itself, and informal groups are those groups which are formed on the basis of their beliefs, values, customs, traditions, etc. So here formal groups can always resist change. Okay, so for example, trade unions can very strongly resist changes proposed by managements. Okay, then if you see informal groups, they can pose a major barrier to change because of the inherent strength they contain. Okay, so both shows impact, both formal and informal shows impact. Okay, so changes at the group level can affect the workflow, job design, social organization, influence and status systems, and communication patterns. All these may lead to the group level change. Okay, so by effectively implementing change at the group level, resistance at the individual level can be overcome. Okay, means you have to implement it very effectively. Okay, and the groups, particularly the informal groups, have a lot of influence on individual members of the group. uh, by effectively implementing so changes, okay, we can manage. Okay, so compared to individual level, group level has more impact. Okay, they have major effect. And if you see organizational level change, organizational level change involves major programs, okay, which affect both the individual and the group. Okay, so here under, if you see organizational change, both individual and both group, okay, they will affect. So decisions regarding such changes are made by the senior management. Organizational level changes are done by the senior management. These changes occur over a long period of time and require considerable planning for implementation. Okay, so if you see what are the different types of organizational level changes means, see, we can see strategic change, structural change, process oriented change, people oriented change. Likewise, if you see strategic change means, strategic change is the change in the very basic objectives or mission of the organization. We all know that for every organization there are vision, mission, objectives of the organization. So therefore, a single objective may have to be changed to multiple objectives. For example, a lot of Indian companies are being modified to accommodate various aspects of global culture brought in by the multinational or transnational corporations. Okay, so in that single objective only, we may have to adopt changes to multiple objectives. So strategic change means the changes that are done in the organization's policies and procedures, or else objectives, or else mission of the organization. Okay, so it depends. So therefore, under organizational level, the most important change that can be seen is the strategic change. Okay, so strategic means it is related to the objectives and missions of the organization, internal aspect of the organization. Then structural change. Okay, so structural change means organizational structure is pattern of relationships, roles, responsibilities. Okay, decision making involved, communication patterns involved. Okay, so among various positions and among various position holders are involved. Therefore, structural change involves changing in internal structure of the organization, because it is considered with concerned with internal management. So this change may be in the whole set of the relationships, or else work assignment, or else authority structure, or else, okay, decision making, anything. It may be related to the organizational structure. So the change may happen at any time. Relating to role, it may change. Relating to responsibility, relating to relationship, relating to work assignment, relating to authority structure. Okay, likewise. So Change in organization structure is required because old relationships and interactions no longer remain valid and useful in the changed circumstances. Okay, that is why structural change is done. Then, if you see process oriented change, these changes related to the recent technological developments, information processing and automation. Okay, for the relating to these aspects, process oriented change is related. So this will involve replacing or retraining personnel, okay, or heavy capital equipment investment or operational changes. So all this may lead to process oriented change which are involved in the process. Okay, so like a technological development, it is under process, information process, automation likewise. Okay, so all this will affect the organizational culture and as a result the behavior pattern of the individuals. Process oriented change affects the organizational culture. Okay, so it results in the behavior pattern of the individuals, how the individuals behave depending upon the organizational culture. Okay, so people oriented change, last one is, so what does people oriented change means? Changes are directed towards performance improvement, okay, group cohesion, dedication, loyalty to the organization, as well as developing a sense of self actualization among members. Okay, that is people oriented change, means we are concentrating on the improvement of the people, performance improvement of the people, employers, group cohesion, how the employees are dedicated, how they are showing loyalty towards the organization, how they are improving their self actualization. Okay, so this can be made possible by closer interaction with employees and by special behavior training and modification sessions. Okay, we can create this thing. So this is people oriented change which is related to the people's performance or else the employees performance. All these are related to the internal aspects of the organization. All these are related to the internal changes of the organizations. Okay, then all this is about the levels and the impact, okay, the forces, the nature, the types of the organizational change. Okay, in next class we'll study other aspects relating to this organizational change like the process likewise. Okay.